Hello everybody, I hope everyone's doing well. I'm back again with another video. Apologies, no video last night. Busy weekend, busy day at school, but I'm back. I have this video, I'm going to film this video, I'm going to film another one. So we got one coming up tonight, one tomorrow, there'll be baseball everywhere. And I know this is a weird shirt for me to wear, but this is kind of a joke shirt I made with some friends back in high school. And there's actually a bunch of my friends signed it. But we're not here to talk about that today. We're here to talk about the Arizona Diamondbacks. So, the Diamondbacks have had a failed season, I would say. People thought that they would be good enough to make the playoffs, make a run at the Dodgers. Everyone thought that it would be Dodgers, Padres, Diamondbacks. The Giants were there surprisingly, but they haven't been that way since, and the Diamondbacks have really struggled too. So, we're going to talk about them. First of all, Diamondbacks entering today. They're playing right now against the Rangers. They're trailing 2-0 as I'm recording this, but they're 68-71. In 2024, they finished 89-73, missed out on the playoffs by a tiebreaker. One playoff appearance since 2018. That was the World Series year in 2023. They had a great year. They barely made the playoffs. They beat the Dodgers in the NLDS, Phillies in the NLCS. Unfortunately for them, they faced the Rangers, and they fell short. But we're going to talk about how their season has gone awry. It certainly hasn't been the hitting. Naylor and Suarez were traded, but they still got some really good hitters on their team. Ketel Marte. Oh, let me show the card here if anyone cares. All right. Ketel Marte, batting .290, a .390 on base, .527 slugging, 105 games. He has a .149 OPS plus. Perdomo, probably my favorite Diamondback, great defender, great hitter, and he also has become a clubhouse leader, it feels like, in Arizona. Perdomo's batting .285 with a .385 on base, .448 slugging in 138 games. He has a .128 OPS plus. He's played all but one game for the Diamondbacks. Corbin Carroll, which I'm noticing now I spelled wrong. It's embarrassing, spelling the name Carroll wrong. .258 average, .332 on base, .556 slugging in 122 games. He has a .139 OPS plus. Corbin Carroll is a very fun player to watch. He's great at hitting. He's very fast. He's a great fielder. He's just a very fun player to watch. Pavin Smith, during the time he has been able to play, he's been all right. .258 average, .362 on base, .434 slugging, 118 OPS plus. Gabriel Moreno, traded by the Blue Jays to the Diamondbacks for Dalton Varsho. Gurriel was a part of that trade too. .282 average, .329 on base, .442 slugging. Only played 62 games. 110 OPS plus in 62 games. Not bad for a catcher. And then Lourdes Gurriel, he's the last person on this list. .248 average, .295 on base, .418 slugging in 129 games. 93 OPS plus. But unfortunately, Lourdes tore his ACL yesterday. So he's out for this year, and there's a chance he might not play next year also. It'd be pretty crazy to say, but depending on the lockout, there could be a chance that we don't see Lourdes again until 2028. Theoretically, I hope that there is a season in 27, but if there's not, Lourdes might not be in the majors until 2028, which would be pretty crazy to say. I hope he gets well soon. But these guys are not bad. Lourdes hasn't been good this year, even before his torn ACL. I don't think that he was going to stay this bad next year. I thought he would be a guy I just think would bounce back. But Marte's been really good. There has been some controversy with Marte. His house got burglarized and he took some time off. Apparently, Diamondbacks players didn't like that too much. Apparently, it also goes back to him having an off day during September during a playoff race, and they lost and they missed out on the playoffs by a tiebreaker, like I said before. But I mean, it's tough to say because Marte is so good. He's one of, if not the best second baseman in baseball. 149 OPS plus is nothing to scoff at, and I guess maybe they're trying. Perdomo's defended him, Gurriel's defended him. But it would be a big hit to this Diamondbacks offense if they were to trade Marte. Marte's had a tough year, like I said. He's been injured. His house got burglarized. That fan said something about his mom, who passed away. It's just been a very, very tough year for Marte. And he just signed the extension, too. It would be really disappointing, I think, for the Diamondbacks if they signed Marte to that extension and they trade him after a year. But they still got good hitters. Marte, Perdomo, Carroll, very, very good top three. One of the best top threes in baseball, I'd say. Not the best. That'd probably be the Dodgers with Ohtani, Freeman, and Betts. But Marte, Perdomo, Carroll, top three, that's pretty much up there. And they were really good when they had Suarez and Naylor. Unfortunately, and as you're going to see in a second, pitching is what's been the big Diamondbacks issue. And I think it was like that last year too, because the Diamondbacks actually had the most runs scored in baseball in 2024, but they didn't make the playoffs, and that's because their pitching wasn't good enough. There are 3 other guys I wanted to mention: Blaze Alexander, Tyler Locklear, and Jordan Lawlar. Alexander, I wanted to lump in there because he's had a decent year in 52 games. 237 average, 331 on base, 449 slugging, 112 OPS plus. Locklear, first of all, before I get to Locklear and Lawlar, Alexander's not necessarily a young player. He's 26, but he's a relatively new player, and I think he's been having a good little season for the Diamondbacks. Locklear, they got him in the Suarez trade, and he hasn't really been good. I think I'm his good luck personally because I watched a bunch of baseball, as y'all know, and the Diamondbacks, I've been watching live the Diamondbacks all 3 times that Locklear's hit his 3 home runs in a Diamondbacks uniform. I think it might be his good luck because when I'm not watching, and besides those 3 home runs, he has not been good. 163 average, 258 on base, 267 slugging in 26 games, OPS plus of 45. That's not good. And I'm not too worried about Locklear. I think if you're the Mariners, it makes perfect sense to give him up for Eugenio Suarez. Suarez is going to hit 40, maybe 50 home runs. I'm not sure. It might be too late for 50, but maybe let's say 45. He's going to hit 45 home runs. It 100% makes sense to trade Locklear and Juan Burgos and Hunter Cranston for Eugenio Suarez. But I'm not too worried about the Diamondbacks. If I'm a Diamondbacks fan, I'm not a Diamondback. If I'm a Diamondbacks fan, I'm not too worried about Locklear, 26 games. He hasn't really gotten a whole lot of major league experience. Maybe he starts the year in the minors next year and he comes up and does well. This is a guy I am kind of worried about, though. Jordan Lawlar. Jordan Lawlar has started 0-30 for his 2025 season. In his major league career, if y'all remember, he came up in 23. Didn't play the entire minor leagues in 24. He also got hurt a few times in 24, but he's come back up this year. In 23, since 23, Lawlar is 4 for 61. So that's really tough to see, especially since Lawlar was such a highly touted prospect. I don't think it's over for Lawlar, and I am rooting for him. Usually when guys are called busts, which I don't know how much conversation that is with Lawlar, but I imagine if he continues to struggle, there could be more conversation about that. I usually end up rooting for them. Torkelson is my favorite story from the Tigers this year. I'm so happy that he's finally put it all together and has had a good year. But Lawlar, definitely rooting for him. But 0 for 30 this year and 4 for 61 in his major league career is it's a tough look. So I wanted to get those offensive guys out of the way, but it's time to talk about some pitching. I know Diamondbacks fans, if you're watching this, I don't know how many are, turn away because pitching hasn't been good this year. Zach Gallen, I will say before I start this, they have had a lot of injuries. I would say the Astros, the Orioles, the Diamondbacks, and the Rangers recently because they've lost Simeon, Seager, Adolis, Evaldi, Evan Carter. I think those are the 4 most injured teams in baseball. Diamondbacks have definitely been hurt, especially in the pitching department. Gallen has had a bad year. Cy Young contender at one point, but Gallen has a 4.94 ERA in 162 innings, and he's gotten better. I remember his ERA was like 5.3 a little while ago. Brandon Pfaadt has also been not very good. 5.33 ERA in 147 innings. Ryan Nelson, I would say he's a bright spot. 3.57 ERA in 131 innings. Definitely take that. Eduardo Rodriguez, 5.40 ERA, 128 and 2/3 innings. I remember when Eduardo Rodriguez was so good for the Red Sox. Traded to the Tigers. Didn't really work out there for him. But some bad news, like I said. Corbin Burnes signed with the Diamondbacks. Big name free agent, chose Arizona. And he had a 2.66 ERA, 64 1/3 innings. He looked like vintage Corbin Burnes, but he's out for the season with Tommy John. And like I said about Lourdes, Tommy John, Lourdes and his torn ACL, Tommy John is not an injury that you recover from quickly. And it sucks to say, but there might be a chance that we don't see Burnes again until 2028, again with the lockout. So if he misses all of 26, which, with Tommy John, that is a possibility, lockout in 27, it would be tough to not see a pitcher of Corbin Burnes' caliber in 2028. When Burnes is on, he is so good. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball, and the Diamondbacks got him. It was a great signing because, like I'm going to talk about, Diamondbacks need help with pitching, but unfortunately, his arm gave out on him. Merrill Kelly was good too. I put a little note there because he's not on the Diamondbacks currently. He got traded to the Rangers. I think the Diamondbacks did a decent job of selling. I feel like they could have gotten more for Suarez and Naylor, though. That is my thoughts. Mariners got a loaded farm system. They didn't give up any of their top 100 prospects. I think the Mariners got Suarez and Naylor for cheap. But I also think that Locklear and maybe Juan Burgos, even though he hasn't looked good on the mound, we'll get to that in a second. I don't think that it's over for the Diamondbacks. I just think they could have gotten more. And but I do think it was good. They traded Merrill Kelly. They traded Shelby Miller. And yeah, that's the rotation. We're going to talk about the bullpen. This is a doozy. I did not waste any room on this note card. And this is the second note card. First time I've ever had 2 note cards for the bullpen for a team. But Shelby Miller, kind of crazy to say in his second stint as a Diamondback. Remember, they traded the Diamondbacks got Shelby Miller for Dansby Swanson all the way back in the day in like 2015, 2016. But Shelby Miller, really good this year. 1.98 ERA, 37 games. He was their closer for a little bit, but he got traded to the Brewers for a player to be named later. Jalen Beeks, 3.86 ERA, 53 games. I mean, considering the ERAs in Battle Reed, that's not terrible. Ryan Thompson, those 2 guys, fun fact, Ryan Thompson and Jalen Beeks were, Siri scared me again. Ryan Thompson and Jalen Beeks were teammates on the Tampa Bay Rays in 2021 and 2022. Thompson, 4.32 ERA in 37 games. Juan Murillo, I think it's Murillo or Murillo. Juan Murillo, 4.55 ERA. He's a rookie in 38 games. He is demoted to AAA. Kevin Ginkel, really bad, and he's hurt. 7.36 ERA in 29 games. That is bad. Usually with relievers, it's a small sample size, but 29 games and you got a 7.36 ERA, that is terrible. Ginkel's out for the year. Jake Woodford, former Cardinal, 5.04 ERA in 16 games. That's not good. Kyle Backus, 4.50 ERA in 29 games. I think that's a 9. Sometimes I can't read my own handwriting. It'd be a miracle if y'all could. But he's fine. Again, the Diamondbacks are really trying to mix and match, see what arms they can use for next year. And then Justin Martinez. Justin Martinez had a 4.11 ERA in 17 games, and he looked good when I saw him pitch against the Mariners in June. But he had arm issues, and he's out for the year. I think he had Tommy John surgery. I think that's what it was. But that's a difficult blow. 4.11 ERA isn't spectacular, but Martinez had electric stuff. It's definitely disappointing that he's out for the year. And then I got the second card for the bullpen. It astounded me how many guys have ERAs over 5 in the Diamondbacks bullpen. They got the most blown leads in baseball. They got 40 after last night against the Rangers. They blew that. If y'all didn't watch, ball got hit off of Juan Burgos, and Rangers scored 2 runs and ended up winning. Like, literally off of him. I think it went off his arm. But it astounded me how many guys had ERAs over 6 and 7, 8, 9, And some of those guys only pitched 1 or 2 games, so I tried to limit this to guys who have pitched. I think Taylor Scott's on this card. He only pitched 6. That's what I tried to limit it to. First of all, I wanted to mention Andrew Saalfrank. Saalfrank, 1.21 ERA in 21 games this year for the Diamondbacks. He has been very good out of the pen for them. And then a lot of these guys aren't with the team anymore, but these guys were losing games for the Diamondbacks. But back in May and June, if you have to think, if they had some better guys in the bullpen, maybe they're not in the selling market right now. Maybe they weren't sellers. Maybe they still have Naylor and Suarez. Maybe they're going on a playoff run. Who knows? Kendall Graveman, 7.13 ERA in 19 games. He's no longer with the team. Joe Mantiply, a horrid 15.83 ERA in 10 games. That is awful. And Mantiply is a former All-Star. He gave them some big innings in the 23 year when they made the World Series. He's no longer with the team. Taylor Scott had a 9-run ERA in 6 games. He's no longer with the team. It was weird because Taylor Scott went Astros, got DFA'd, went to the Diamondbacks, got DFA'd, and then he went back to the Astros, and he got DFA'd again. It's not been a good year for Taylor Scott. AJ Puck, I wanted to mention him. He was lights out for the Diamondbacks last year. 3.38 ERA in 8 games. The reason I mentioned him is because he's also out for the year. So that was a big blow. The Diamondbacks bullpen was questionable, but they're probably their best arm entering the season. AJ Puck, out for the season. Scott McGuff, 6.43 ERA in 7 games. Not good. And then Juan Burgos hasn't looked good in his beginning with the Diamondbacks, first few appearances with the Diamondbacks. Again, like I said with Locklear, I'm not too worried about him. I think it would be best if they played in the minors and then came up next year and we see how it goes. But 8.10 ERA in 9 games. He got the loss yesterday, which, again, he kind of got unlucky because the ball got hit off him. He, by the way, got demoted to AAA, so that's where he is now with the Reno Aces. But yeah, it's been a tough year for the Diamondbacks all around. Bunch of injuries, bunch of terrible pitching. I'm sure that fans were disappointed from Suarez and Naylor to be traded. It's tough because I feel like the Diamondbacks, if they go down the road I think they're going to have a tough time. I am worried that they're thinking about trading Ketel Marte, and they're leaking this Ketel Marte is a cancer argument to try and make people not as upset. Gurriel's out for the year. You know, Suarez and Naylor, they probably would have left in free agency after this year, but still, they're going to be gone. Offensively, I mean, Corbin Carroll, Geraldo Perdomo, really good. I told you, Pavin Smith, Gabriel Moreno, Blaze Alexander have had decent seasons also, but it's not what it was this year. The Diamondbacks had the offense of a World Series contending team this year, at least in April to July, but it was the pitching that let them down. And it's tough. Again, there's going to be no Burns next year, possibly, or at least for most of next year. AJ Puck, I think he had Tommy John surgery as well, if I'm not mistaken. Justin Martinez, those are a couple of good guys off the in the bullpen. It's kind of looking bleak for Arizona right now, I'm not going to lie. And I'm usually optimistic, and I like Arizona. I was rooting for them to win the World Series because, well, it was tough because I wasn't upset the Rangers won the World Series. But I kind of wanted Arizona. They're both Cinderella stories, but I liked Arizona's story a little bit more. I loved watching Corbin Carroll in 2023, and I still do. But I think that there is a chance that they're not very good next year, or maybe the year after that. They might be rebuilding, and it's tough. It'd be tough to see Corbin Carroll spending the prime of his career on a bad team. And the Diamondbacks, like I said, they've only had one appearance since 2018. World Series year, great year. They lost it, but I think that the main takeaway from this video is that always enjoy the good times, because as we can see with the Diamondbacks, the good times can end all of a sudden. And I mean, we're kind of seeing it with the Rangers this year. They're actually playing a lot better without Simeon, Seager, Evaldi, and Evan Carter. It's pretty crazy, and Adolis is hurt too. But we could say that with the Rangers. They looked bad for many parts of this year and last year, and they had a 7 or 8 year playoff drought before they made it in 23. Whole point is, if you're a sports fan, enjoy the good times, because even with the Spurs, who were NBA, basketball's model of consistency, the good times always come to an end. So I hope everybody enjoyed this video. Again, I got another video. This one's going to be on the Astros tomorrow. I have that filmed up, ready to go. I'm going to upload it tomorrow, though, because that's when, I want it to be a daily thing. Although this will technically be 2 videos in one day, because this will probably be uploaded by midnight. I hope everybody enjoyed this video. I want to thank everybody for watching. I don't know if I haven't gotten very many comments, but feel free to comment your thoughts on the team. Feel free to comment your thoughts on me, I guess. Keep it nice, please. And stuff like that. Again, I'm sorry for not uploading over this weekend, or not very much over this weekend. Even though this is a small YouTube channel, I got 4 subscribers and I get like 30 views a video. I still enjoy it. Maybe there's somebody who's looking forward to my videos and are disappointed in not uploading. So I'm going to try and keep it as common as I can. We got September baseball, one of the best months for baseball besides October. During the playoffs, I plan to go in-depth on all the games and all the series. I hope everybody enjoyed this video, and hopefully I can catch y'all again in another video soon.